John Cross, a well-sourced journalist in England working for the Mirror, saying that Mesut Ozil is telling his friends that he's going to Manchester United in January. What do you make of this, Maris?
Well, when you told me the news, Dan, I said, pardon?
Yes, but that could be your age.
Well, it could be, but it's not. And I wonder, look, Mourinho knows what he's doing, but this is a head-scratcher for me. Obviously, Pogba, we really don't know how long he's going to be coming back. Mkhitaryan, it looks as though, to me, he's going to be on the chopping block because Mesut Ozil, for me, can only play in that 10 roles. You can't play him wide.
No.
You certainly can't play him in the holding role. That's ridiculous. So somebody in that dressing room has gone, uh-oh, that's a little bit more running for me. Obviously, Mourinho's got something up his sleeve. Sure. But it's a puzzler for me.
Does this fit?
I just don't see how it fits. And I say that because I think Mesut Ozil is a luxury player. And you look at what Jose demands out of every single player on Manchester United, and there are no luxuries taken. And
sure.
To Paul's point, it means a lot more running and closing down. The one thing that you will say is, one, he's different than any other player at Manchester United. And two, if you think about the way they defend, sometimes they defend a little bit deeper. They need that connector to either Lukaku or Martial or anybody that's going to get in behind. Rashford has the pace to do that. So if you get Mesut Ozil on the ball and you want to play over the top and spring someone quickly, I can see that.
But Brian, that's a massive gamble. If you're going to defend with less numbers, if you're going to say, OK, Ozil, just hang out there, wait till you get the ball and then spring the attack, that's risky.
It is. If you look at Manchester United, though, they're set up defensively. So they've got a good understanding. If it means they defend with 9 instead of 10, I think that is something they can play to. But for me, I'm with you. I don't understand the signing.
No.
There's no question that Mesut Ozil is a talented player. And there's a relationship here between Jose Mourinho and Mesut Ozil going back to the days of Real Madrid. So maybe, as many managers tend to be, the ones that can find the magic answer, the one that can say, I can get the best out of this guy. Yeah. I can turn around his attitude. I can change his mindset, and I can get the best out of him on the field. Maybe that's Jose Mourinho, and maybe that works for Mesut Ozil. But if you're going to ask Mesut Ozil to go defend, like you have asked everybody else to do at Manchester United, good luck with that. Because we have seen that does not work for Mesut Ozil.
Some Chelsea players not happy with Conte, not happy with his training schedule, with his regime. Why do you roll your eyes?
Well, because I think those were the same reports that happened early on last season.
Yes.
When there were issues at Chelsea, and then they go on and win the league, and then things just kind of get forgotten.
But is it like bumbling under the surface?
Well, I think the issue right now at Chelsea is not so much with the players. I think it's Conte and the front office of Chelsea, the board, whoever is running this club, because there seems to be this sort of back and forth that is going on through the press and saying where Conte is concerned about the fact that he doesn't have the strength in numbers of players that he would have wanted. And when your best option off the bench, when Morata is injured, is Michy Batshuayi, and that's it, well, then you have a problem. However, it was Antonio Conte who sent a text message to Diego Costa, and that's why Diego Costa is no longer at Chelsea. So this is on their own doing. I really don't enjoy having any of the managers complain. Because we're talking about some of the richest clubs in the world.
Sure.
So what about when the players start complaining?
That's a different matter. I mean, that's concerning, isn't it?
It is concerning. And look, if you're, as a manager, to Ali's point, if you think, well, the front office is not getting me the players that I want, I need another centre forward, I need a holding midfield, whatever I need, they're not getting it for me. And this is what I've got in the building at the moment, where I've had some poor games. I've got to work these guys. I've got to work them on the training ground. I've got to get them ready for the game. That's his job.
But is he whipping them too hard? Their legs are falling off.
Look, Conte is a top manager. He knows when the legs are falling off. Sometimes hard work for these players, maybe it's just a little bit too much for them. They've got to knuckle down and they've got to fight for the right to play for this Chelsea side.
Is he going to be there at the end of the season?
I hope so. I love him.
You really do love him?
Yep, I love him.
That's passion.
Is it the hair?
No, it's not so much the hair. I'll tell you what it is. It stems from watching him on the sidelines at City last year when they beat him 3-1 and absolutely killed Pep Guardiola at coaching. He was lights out and he kept his players honest.
Why do you hate Pep Guardiola?
Wow.
Did I say that?
What a development.
Wow.
Breaking news.
Wow. What's wrong with Atleti?
Good question. I think in the first game against Roma, they really just lost the opportunity, didn't take the chances that they made, and there were a lot of them against Chelsea. Of course, they weren't particularly impressive. And in this game, they were terrible, Atletico Madrid. I mean, it's not just that they were unable to win. It's that in the last 20 minutes or so, it was Karabag who had the better opportunities, or at least looked threatening every time they came forward. Karabag probably should have had a penalty, I felt, instead of the red card, although it's a kind of borderline decision, but Atletico just didn't look good at all. Away from home, they've really struggled to score goals so far this season. There seems to be a real uncertainty about who the best partner for Griezmann is. Griezmann himself hasn't played well. Obviously, without Koke, it's slightly different, but this has put them in a very, very difficult position as well.
Are they going to get through the group, Sid?
Well, as I say, this is the difficult position they're in. They're in a position where they go into these final 3 games with quite a lot of ground to make up. There's now a very, very significant risk that they don't go through. And to be honest, if their inability to score goals isn't sorted out, then of course they won't go through. But it's not just that. It's that they're not really creating a huge amount of chances. As I say, the game against Roma was different. The game against Roma, it's true, they had more than enough chances to win that game relatively comfortably, including one right at the very end, which is just an incredible miss. But they're not quite functioning yet. And they are a side that still have some of the hallmarks of Atletico Madrid, very, very defensively strong. But they don't look right at the moment.
Ooh, dodgy news for Manchester United as Marcus Rashford appears to have picked up a knee injury. We'll see exactly how long it does keep him out for. Paul Mariner here with me for this one. This isn't the news that the Red Devils wanted at all. If we have a look at some of the injuries that they're already dealing with, Maris, and I'm talking about Fellaini, Bailly, Carrick, Pogba, Zlatan, Marcos Rojo, and last thing you want is to add Rashford to this. How, on the back of these injuries, how big of a blow would this be for United?
It's a massive blow. I mean, look, your squad can only go so deep, and it's already been asked questions already.
Exactly.
So, look, let's hope that Rashford, who's been playing really, really well, by the way, let's hope that it's not a serious injury for many, many reasons. I think he's been fantastic. I think he's been the spark. I think he was a little bit lucky with his goal the other day, but
yeah, sure.
But no, I mean, when you look at that injury list, I mean, they're not just also run players, are they? They're proper players.
Exactly.
So this is going to be a big test for United, but up to now they've been up to it.
Well, if this injury could be beneficial any at all, I mean, it probably would be for a certain Anthony Martial. What do you think, Maris? Would he be the perfect replacement for a Marcus Rashford?
I just think we're always waiting for Martial to just blast it open for 90 minutes and then a period of games. We never seem to see that from Martial.
But he's come good a couple of times this season.
Yeah,
he looks much
but
better.
in flashes, though, Lex. You know, when you look at him now, he's not a kid anymore. When you see the way that Rashford's been developing under Mourinho, and taking the pressure and running with it and playing really well, then yes, you hope that Martial is going to be the answer, and he is the natural player to slide in there. But this is a good opportunity for him to show Mourinho what he's really all about.
All right, thanks so much, Paul Mariner. So big blow for Manchester United if indeed they do lose Marcus Rashford for some period of time, but it is also a very great opportunity for a certain Anthony Martial. Paul Mariner was a sad man over the weekend after Arsenal's result against Watford. Troy Deeney, though, had some interesting comments after that match, Maras. And now Jack Wilshere has gone on the defensive, saying his comments about Arsenal lacking cojones were unjustified. But I think this is not the first time we've heard that criticism of Arsenal. And he does have a point, doesn't he?
He most certainly has a point.
Troy Deeney, that is.
It's very unusual for professional footballers to call each other out. It's very rare. Never happened in my day. But I think we all understand, whether we're Arsenal fans or not Arsenal fans, the frustration with this group. You got to remember that the game could have been over. Ozil puts that away. It's 2-0. Watford go up the other end, and I think they got a pen or something. So what they did, they folded under the pressure. When Troy Deeney came on, his own coach, he said, look, I'm just going to try and bash him around a little bit, see what happens. That's what his instruction was from the manager. And his instant reaction when he bumped into Mertesacker was, there was no reaction. So, and from then on, Watford grew into the game. They grew with confidence. Richarlison was really taking people on down that left-hand side, causing absolute havoc. So I think Jack's got to... Look, he's been thrust into the limelight because he's going to be playing in the Europa League today. So he's obviously got to say something. I think for him, he should have said no comment. He said, I'm going to let my football We're going to let our football do the talking for us.
People are allowed to think what they want.
Exactly. You know, people are entitled to their own opinion.
But Jack also went on and said that even in that game, Arsenal's character couldn't be questioned. Are you kidding me?
That's why he's got to choose his words a little bit more carefully. I just don't see it. Every man and his dog saw what happened.
Exactly.
There's no way that Arsenal Football Club should go to Watford and get turned over. First half they were fine. Second half they were absolutely atrocious. And was it because Deeney came on and roughed them up a little bit? Possibly. But did they switch off? Yes, they did. You know, El Neni and Xhaka tracking for the winning goal, non-existent. You know, that's where you show yourself. You know, yes, it's a difficult place to play at Watford. Yeah, they're somewhat of a local rivalry, but you get in there. If you're going to take a point and get out. Mm-hmm. Instead of getting beat, no, never.
Shambles. Same old Arsenal, and Paul Mariner is frankly
tired
of it. Tired of it. Well, we'll say they do have some time to redeem themselves. We'll see if Arsenal indeed do so. Paul Mariner is finally back from his never-ending vacation. Just in time to tackle me in Premier League Predictor. You know what I'm talking about, Maris.
Yes,
West Ham, they're back at home. Not sure if that could be a good or a bad thing for them. They're up against Brighton.
It's a good thing. Chris Hughton's team, very, very well organised. West Ham just coming into a little bit of form.
Yes.
I'm taking the Hammers.
I'm going to go with the Hammers as well. And Shaka Hislop had nothing to influence our decision with this. Chelsea up against Watford. Watford, of course, buoyed by that result against your Gunners. But Chelsea are no Arsenal.
Well, surprisingly conceding some poor goals all week, actually, Champions League and in Premier League. Conte will get it right. It's going to be a difficult game. Watford no pushover under Silva. Chelsea for me.
I'm sure that's what we said last weekend against Crystal Palace. But hey, yes. I think Chelsea will definitely sort this one out. Huddersfield, Manchester United.
As much as I like what's going on at Huddersfield, they're playing with a lot of spirit, and United have got massive injuries. There's absolutely no doubt. Mourinho, he will not park the bus, and he will score goals this weekend.
We will see about that. We will see about that indeed. They are once away again. But anyways, Manchester City, I mean, can we even choose against them, Maris, against Burnley?
No, well, the ginger Mourinho, Sean Dyche, is doing an incredible job. I mean, he really is. I mean, if you look at the table, you think, Burnley? I mean, he has done a great job, but City, on the present form, no contest.
The ginger Mourinho. Interesting. Newcastle hosting Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace finally got some goals.
Yes, but...
and points.
Zaha was obviously the main protagonist for that. At home, Newcastle are always difficult. I'm taking Newcastle.
Yes, I want the happiness to continue for
It's
Crystal
not going
Palace.
to continue.
I know. You know what? I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I'm going to go draw for this one. I'm going for the draw. Moving on now, Maris. Stoke City, Bournemouth. How do you see this one?
Oh, this is going to be a classic. The crowd's going to be flocking to this game.
Goals galore.
Goals galore. I'm going to get Sparky. To pull this one out.
You know, I want
They need a win.
They do need a win, and I want to go for a draw again, but all right. Let's go with Stoke. Swansea, Leicester City.
Yeah, lost the manager this week, Shakespeare, so did they get a bump? I don't think they do.
There's usually that reaction.
There's usually. I don't see it. I see Swansea at home. I think they're difficult at home this season, Swansea. I'll take Swansea.
I can't tell. I'm probably going to try for a reaction here, so I'm going to go for a draw. Sitting on a lot of fences this week. Now this is going to be an absolute
snooze fest.
Wonderfully contested game. Fraser Forster, please stop conceding. You're in my fantasy team. So I'm going to go with Southampton.
Well, I'm going to do what you normally do.
Sit on the fence.
It's a draw.
It's a draw for that one. You know, I'll take a draw as well, as long as it's 0-0. Everton, against the mighty Gunners.
Well, Arsenal been on the travels this week, obviously, going to the Europa League in Belgrade. Ronald Koeman under massive pressure. Not playing particularly well. You would think that he would have time to sort it out on the training ground. This is a massive game for Everton. I think they'll respond. I was tempted to say a draw, but I'm not going to sit on the fence. I'm going to go Everton.
Oh, no. Paul Mariner. Yep. You know what? I'm going to say put some respect on Arsene Wenger. Right. You know I love me some Arsene Wenger. So I'm going to go and give the Gunners the chance to sort things out there at Goodison Park.
This is going to be a great game.
Tottenham,
this
Liverpool.
Is a fantastic game. Liverpool with that poor defence, fantastic going forward. Tottenham, for me, they've got it all going on. Defensively sound, going forward with Harry, different level.
They're just at home, though.
I'm taking Tottenham.
Oh, a bit dodgy sometimes when they're at home. I'm not 100% convinced.
They love Wembley. They love it.
Okay, you say that. All right, because you say that, I'm going to go with Spurs. Why not? Thanks so much to Paul Mariner. Continue tracking all of the Premier League fixtures and results here at ESPNFC.com.
You take a look at Group E. Just look at the teams that are in Group E and then look at the team that's at the bottom. And I know it's the Europa League. I know you could say, hey, you never pay this any attention, so why does it matter that Everton are the bottom of their group? But it isn't just their performance in the Europa League, is it? It's the fact that they have absolutely stunk up the Premier League so far. They currently sit 16th in the league. Koeman's got to get sacked, isn't he?
You know, it's unacceptable, especially in the situation they're in. I think every result counts and matters in not only the fans' eyes, but certainly now the chairman's got to be looking at this and thinking we might need to change something. This weekend they take on Arsenal. If you don't get a result there, I really think, even though it's Arsenal, I really think there might be some questions asked at the higher level.
He's gone, isn't he? Dead man walking, Paul?
Look, the way that the Premier League goes, and we all know it's result-based, he's probably got to go. But having said that, when you give a manager $200 million, which he spent, do you not just cut him just a little bit of slack? I mean, look, the pressure will come to bear with the press, the pressure will come to bear with the fans. But I think they'd be smart to just stick with him for a
Why?
few
What have you
months.
seen? What have you seen?
I just wanted to get past this Arsenal game, and I think they're going to cup games or something. I think that this is they've got a Premier League game, and I think there's a little bit of respite for him. And if he doesn't get a result, then he's done.
Yeah, more to the opposite, Paul. He spent the money. He brought in the players.
Yep.
The players are not working. Whose is responsibility? It falls on Ronald Koeman. So I'm surprised that you're saying give him a break. If I were the owner, I'm saying, wait a minute. I gave you the resources. You asked for resources. I gave you resources. You spent it. You brought this player. This player's got to deliver.
So you get the resources, so you don't give him any time to work with those resources.
Paul, I think the bigger issue is how he spent the resources.
Right.
So you sell Lukaku, you don't bring in a replacement for Lukaku, someone who can adequately replace him, and certainly he had the money to spend. Also, you let Gareth Barry go. That's sort of shocking to me. You add players like Schneiderlin, who certainly, if he has time and space, he's a good passer of the ball. He's not a ball winner. He's not tenacious. Gareth Barry would cover for so many different players, and I was very surprised. Regardless of his age, he's a player there. You don't have to spend any money to actually keep him. You just need to pay him a little bit, and that one I think is showing, along with some injuries, to have a huge effect.
In the Champions League Group H, of course, Real Madrid won, Spurs won was the final score in what was a thoroughly entertaining match at the Santiago Bernabeu. It sparked a couple of debates, the main one being that Karim Benzema, Sid Lowe. Gary Lineker tweeting out that the Frenchman is overrated. It is a debate that we've had quite a few times here over the years. Where do you stand on Benzema, Sid?
Yeah, it's a debate that's recurring in Spain as well, and I think really, to some extent, it boils down to what you want from your striker, and I think what Karim Benzema has done, and bear in mind, this is a guy that has survived and prospered at Real Madrid, a club where the pressure is extremely high. If you don't perform well, you don't last. You don't stay there forever. However much of a presidential protege you are, and he is one, you don't stay there forever. And they have tried to buy strikers, by the way. They've tried to buy Lewandowski, they've tried to buy Luis Suarez. But I think the thing with Benzema is it comes down to what you want him to do, and he is, if you ask Cristiano Ronaldo, the best number 9 in the world to play with Cristiano Ronaldo, a guy that provides space, that understands the game really well, that facilitates the role of others, that enables Cristiano Ronaldo to score enormous amounts of goals. The problem is, of course, that even while you're doing all those kind of things, in a game like this, and actually, by the way, his Champions League record, goal scoring record, is really quite good. In a game like this, when that chance falls to him as it comes back off the post and he's 6 or 7 yards out, you expect someone to score. For what it's worth, that's not to say the greatest number 9s don't miss chances, and Ronaldo has missed some pretty bad ones recently too.
Yeah, he did. And you look at the weekend against Getafe. Kane on Benzema?
At the moment, I would have to say Harry Kane. But to Sid's point, I think if you look at the body of work that Benzema has had at Real Madrid, the amount of assists, the movement that he's created, the players that he's taken away for the likes of Isco, Bale, Ronaldo to get in, I think that's not to be underrated. So I still think he's a very valued member of Real Madrid.
That's all good and well. And I appreciate hold-up play. And I appreciate somebody who facilitates space. And I appreciate all those things that perhaps go unnoticed. But if you are the center forward, center striker for Real Madrid, you're expected to score goals. That's also part of the expectation. And by the way, it's not it's not crazy to think, oh my goodness, if you play center forward for Real Madrid, you should be scoring goals. Yes, that's part of the job. And if he continues to miss these opportunities, then of course the pressure is going to continue to come along because, oh, by the way, it is what you're expected to do.